This is surprising. Well, time to talk about it. So this situation has been on a spiral for a week now, and this is because of a tweet that blew up everyone's mind and turned against the person who made the series, known as Pretty Blood. Now, before I start the first segment, I just want to say this series blew up at around 2023, all because of a video called The Most Disturbing Newsground Series, and this attracted everyone, including me. I'm sure you've heard about it before. If not, this goes over explaining the series, going over every episode of Red Snow. This has got everyone's attention to what the series was about, and it led them to getting invested in Pretty Blood. Unfortunately, this didn't age as expected once you realize the audience that suddenly got into Pretty Blood were all kids. Pretty Blood is a horror series about cute little things getting tortured, but the whole timeline is confusing as hell, so... But that's what got me invested in these episodes and what was happening. Despite his first videos being deleted, all of them remain on Newsgrounds, which you can find by just searching the title of the series. What I can assume from this series is that it was made in 2016 or 2017, which is one of the first series to show gore before getting half the episodes taken down by YouTube. But besides from that, I won't be going over the series, and instead you can watch this guy's video, link in the description. Now continuing this topic. The creator of Pretty Blood has done not so great stuff whatsoever, and everyone has the right to be mad at him about it, and disgusted too. This is mainly because of the stuff this guy admitted doing, which left everyone scarred, because they've never seen him inside doors before. Keep in mind the situation went on a spiral once he was exposed, and a bunch of people made videos, threads, and even giving out screenshots on what he did. So since you've heard the warnings in the beginning of the video, let's begin. Before we start off, I want you to remember that the creator has a bunch of names. For example, Cute Little Thing, Little Deadly Thing, and Disease. But I would prefer him as Disease in the video because that's what he goes by on Discord. And to keep in mind, the whole situation has started to confuse everyone on who started it, so I will go over all thanks to Bernie, who gave me the full context as to what happened. A guy who should remain anonymous due to privacy reasons will be called Anom, because they were the first person to expose Disease being a creep. And lastly, two guys who showed the threads between him and Disease conversation is Bernie, a close friend of mine on Twitter, Sidrus, another close friend of Bernie who got involved in exposing Disease. I hope I said that right. Time to begin the context. Anon went to Bernie's DMs and told him about Disease letting in individuals who were known for their bad reputation, which is being problematic. Bernie and Sidrus went their way to expose Disease and how he isn't an innocent person as everyone thought, which led everyone to go on a spiral about the whole situation. Bernie went to Disease DMs and confronted him. This is where he learned something dark about Disease. To this day, everyone knows Disease is bullshit and the excuse he's pulling up from his ass, let alone the apology he made, which is now striked. And it's now re-uploaded to Bernie's channel. If you want, you can watch it. Next segment, I hope you remember the warnings in the beginning of the video, because this is about to get dark. His fetishes are very controversial, and I mean it when he went over to admitting these things he did a long time ago and it didn't go away. The first segment is non-con, a taboo that's non-consensual and shouldn't be treated as a quirky matter. Now this topic is something I feel very uncomfortable talking about, but this topic is one of Disease's fantasies to which he admitted to being into, despite being against it. Before commenting that he's an adult and he can do whatever he wants, the thing is that nobody should be fantasizing about non-con, especially when it's a serious topic everyone went through. It also raises concerns when Disease added non-con into his series and his NSFW content. Speaking of his NSFW content, he did drew non-con art of two bunny characters. If you look at the tags, yeah, that's not great. This shouldn't be something that should be treated as a nothing burger, as Disease admits to drawing and having fantasies of. And it's definitely ironic that he tries to say he's against it despite being into it at the same time. The second segment is BDSM, a kink Disease is into. though BDSM isn't a fetish, but however, it has been overused in his series. And what if I told you this wasn't BDSM and instead was just torture or snuff instead? This has been overused so many times, it's kind of ironic. Yeah, BDSM is shown in his NSFW work, but however, it isn't exactly BDSM, but rather snuff. Here's a scene where Rennie gets turned on over her daughter getting tortured and recording it, as well as controlling a child named Lily who was forced to kill her parents and watch them die in front of her. Did I forget to mention that Rennie was also turned on when she watched her friend Ron getting tortured as well as Supa did? Speaking of said series, it was a fetish series, all about snuff torture and violence against others. But Disease claimed it wasn't a quote-unquote fetish anymore and wants to focus on his story instead. However, fetishes don't go away, especially when he put a lot of his fantasies into it. And lastly, the third segment is Cheese Pizza, where Disease drew two kids together inappropriately. Now this has confused everyone considering his art style has changed, which led everyone to assume this was age play. Here are the tags where it says toddler. That's odd. I thought it was age play. Apparently not. Oh, this isn't him? Oh my. I should have known better. Ha! The name explains it all. Even he admits it's the worst thing he did. Like, is everyone blind? Now, I better not see anyone commenting on this topic where it isn't CP, because it is. Not to mention, Didi and Dada were supposed to be adults until they were changed to kids due to the fact that they look like one. Now that you know the segments of the evident layer, let's move on to his history on letting everyone in. This includes creeps and minors into his server. This all started with Disease allowing creeps into his server, let alone NSFW servers. But however, this goes way back in the previous server that's in freeze mode. For good, at least. For example, Barislot was the first person to ever get exposed to talking to a 17-year-old while he was 19 at the time. This was the first time this ever happened since, it was 2023 at the time. Disease claimed this was false information because everyone complained to him that it was false information. And that's until he got exposed for the second time. There is another individual known as Screaming Catfish. He has posted fart art in the server, which is showing it to kids, just being weird in general. But however, this isn't the first time that someone like this has ever done this before. It was filled with creeps at the time, posting stuff that they shouldn't show to kids. Another individual who went by Nini, he was a former mod in the server. But however, he was known for having a meaning to his name. Yeah, and also showed his slightly suggestive art to kids. Another individual who went by Kling, one who was known for his Just a Neighbor commission series. But however, he has been exposed for talking inappropriately to minors, for example, being explicit towards female fans. At the time, Disease has tried to claim Kling is innocent, and well, it didn't go well, at all. If you want full context, I will link Bernie's 2 videos as well as the Reddit post. And Desmine. Now, you may have known him for this artwork, but however, Des has a dark history of drawing CP art. Not to mention, he supported dark shipping, which is a term of supporting taboo subjects. For example, abuser ex-victim. He's also drawn slightly suggestive art, which is by showing it to kids at the previous server at the time, as well as implying his artwork being fetishy. Disease allowed him to stay in the server instead of being concerned about Des drawing this stuff. Des even claimed he doesn't draw it anymore, but however, he should have gotten rid of those drawings. But unfortunately, he didn't. There are other individuals who Barislot picked out to be moderators, but however, all the moderators were underage. I won't be giving out names because nobody deserves harassment, but the whole moderation team was bad. This includes encouraging harassment and bullying. I can say that I was one of the people that fell victim to this bullying cycle, and I can say the same thing to my friends. This includes a friend of mine who I'm no longer friends with, unfortunately, but they were a Copper fan and they disliked the balloon a lot. However, they got harassed and unfortunately, they vented in the server before, and this led them to getting harassed, made fun of, picked on, they were practically becoming the punching bag, all because there was this one mod who just thought they were easy to pick on because they were sensitive. Now I get it, all the moderators were at least kids as well, confirming that one of them said they were 15, but I still think it doesn't excuse anything. Bullying is wrong. Nobody should be doing that. This whole thing was a mess to the point where the server was shut down. At least that's what I remember. But this topic isn't over yet. There's more to explain. Disease allowed minors into a server. This is the first time this has happened. You'll see the amount of children who made their own Pretty Blood fan series, which is literally the same thing except you'd be surprised how old they be. They are at least around 9 to 15 years old, which is crazy to think about, but it's possible that they were exposed to disease content at a very young age. Now, this is something disease shouldn't be blamed on, considering when his series is literally 17 plus or 18 plus, with a bunch of kids crying over characters getting tortured. But however, this is his fault for not banning kids in his server, knowing damn well almost all of them are underage, and especially he knew about it. He knew that showing this kind of stuff to kids is wrong, yet he showed it anyways, on YouTube, instead of just staying on Newsgrounds, like every other NSFW artists and animators should be doing. For this example, Donnie, a well-known creep who made fetish art of characters blowing bubblegum, and a horrible MS Paint art of Pretty Blood characters, was 13 to 14 years old when he was in Disease server. It's unfortunate that he was a child who had to grow up to become the person he didn't want to be. This isn't another thing. The amount of people are kids who forgive him easily without understanding what he did, or at least not caring about what he did. They just want to see his series. Like, if you go to his apology on, the community tab, you'll see the amount of kids forgiving him. If you even refresh the new comments, there still is people forgiving him. Now you know why I said it didn't age well when the audience are kids. So to put all of this aside, Disease has tried to debunk everything, or at least sweep this under the rug by claiming his quote-unquote age play artwork wasn't CP, which I literally showed y'all everything. Not to mention, in his community tab, he knows he's fucked up badly, especially hurting everyone in his previous server emotionally and mentally. This man doesn't deserve forgiveness, dear God, no. Instead, he should step away from his series and actually get help. He should focus on his own mental health. He can get help online or in real life, which can help him focus on his mental state. I know I'll get a bunch of crybabies on my ass complaining about why Disease shouldn't stop continuing his series. To which, first of all, shut up, you don't know Disease personally. You only knew him from the stuff he makes and not in content, so stop acting like you do. Second of all, quit acting like this is the end of the world just because Disease won't continue the series. Leave this man be. And third of all, quit trying to defend him when you know what he did was wrong. The stuff he continues to do shouldn't be excused as a normal thing, especially when I gave out the evidence to what he did. I don't know why I have to make this clear, but to say this guy is bad, but however, he's capable of changing. So please, may I beg you to not baby him. Before I end this video, I just want to say if you like the Pretty Blood series and you want to see how it improves as a story, I'm not stopping you. But note this, don't take this video as an offense. This is a way to spread awareness to what Disease did. And if you have thoughts about this situation, I'd like to hear it. If you like the video, then consider pressing the like button. And if you want to support me, you can consider subscribing to me. And I deeply apologize if I took forever making this video. Family has been getting on my back lately, and I've been getting sick. But anyways, I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.